Okay, here we go on level 4. Level 4 is proofs, and we're doing proofs early. These early proofs should be pretty simple. Let's take a look at level 4. Our given statement says that ray DE bisects angle ADB. So here's ray DE. Oops, E is supposed to be right there. And it bisects angle ADB. In other words, it cuts it exactly in half. The measure of angle ADB, that's this angle here, is 60 degrees. We need to prove that the measure of angle ADE is 30 degrees. Well, okay, we're going to start our proofs by stating our givens. So our first statement is going to say ray DE bisects angle ADB. This is given. Next, we're going to state that the measure of angle ADB, measure of angle ADB equals 60 degrees, because that was also given. Alright, with those two facts, we should be able to prove this, because remember, to bisect is to cut in half. So, we know that angle ADE should be half the size of ADB. So in other words, measure of angle ADE equals, I'm going to write down here, the measure of angle ADB divided by 2. ADE equals ADB divided by 2. We know this because that's the definition of bisect. Bisect means to cut in half. So if we set up here that it's bisecting it, we know therefore that this angle has to be half the size of the larger angle because it's been bisected. Alright, we also know that the measure of angle ADB is 60. So I can now rewrite this as the measure of angle ADE equals, instead of writing ADB, I'm going to replace it with 60 divided by 2. What I did is I replaced ADB with 60. When you replace something, we call that substitution. That's hard to write upside down. Yeah, you got it. Cool. Substitution. Alright, last. I can solve for the measure of angle ADB by dividing. 60 divided by 2 is 30. So the measure of angle ADE equals 60 divided by 2, which is 30. What I did right there is I divided 60 divided by 2, so we call that division. Alright, to review. We knew that ray DE was bisecting angle ADB, that was given. We knew that the measure of angle ADB was 60, that was given. We knew that the measure of angle ADE had to be equal to the measure of angle ADB divided by 2 because that's what bisectors do. So this one had to be exactly half the size of that one. That's the definition of bisector. So we knew that the measure of angle ADE had to equal 60 divided by 2 because ADB was 60. So we replaced it with 60 divided by 2. That's called substitution. When we actually did the division, did 60 divided by 2, we figured out that the measure of angle ADE equals 30. That's called division, and that's where we proved the thing that we were trying to prove. So that's a good proof. Alright, cool. Last one. Given line PQ is a perpendicular bisector to segment RS. So this is a perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular bisector means it should be a 90-degree angle and it should cut this in half. Also given, RS equals 6. So we need to prove that RT, here's RT, equals 3. So like all proofs, we're going to state our givens first. So our first one is line PQ is a perpendicular bisector. To segment RS. All I'm writing here is our first given. I'm just basically copying it. How do I know this is true? It is given. Anything is given, state it right away and write your given. That's all you gotta do. Cool. Do we have any more givens? Yes, we do. It tells us also that RS equals 6. So I get to write that. How do we know this is true? It's given. Cool. So we've got this. Now think about this. If it's a perpendicular bisector, it means that it cuts RS in half. So we can say that, for instance, RT equals RS divided by 2. How do you know that? Definition of bisect. Because to bisect is to cut in half. Cool. So we've cut it in half. Now we already know what RS is. It's 6, right? So we can just say RT equals 6 divided by 2. What I did is I took something I knew and I replaced it with another equal value, so that's called substitution. Substitution. And last, I can prove that RT equals 3 because 6 divided by 2 is 3, so when I do the math, RT equals 3, and that is called division. So again, we start out by saying line PQ is a perpendicular bisector to segment RS. So here's segment RS. This is a perpendicular bisector. That is given. We also know that RS equals 6. That's also given. We know that RT has to be half the size of RS because that's the definition of bisect, to cut in half. So this must be half of this. So RT has to be 6 divided by 2 because if this is 6, then RS being 6, RT has to be half of that, so 6 divided by 2. All we're doing is substituting. We're taking RS, which you know is 6, and replacing it with the 6. And then we divide, giving us RT equals 3. That's called division. Once we've done that, we have solved this proof. So, thank you. Level 4 done. Good job. Good luck. See you soon.